Okay. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Covenant Therapy Marriage Ministry. I'm Paranoid Janine.
I'm not paranoid, Teray.
And we are going to talk with you today about one of the major issues that we struggled with early in our relationship. And I say we struggled with it. It was my issue, but we struggled. So we're going to talk about jealousy today and what jealousy is, sort of where it stems from, some of the results and the effects that it has on you and your partner and your marriage, or and then also how to overcome that
because that can
issue,
be
because it's a big issue.
It can be pretty hard.
Well, and it's hard for the person that has it, because you almost feel like you're going crazy, and then it's equally as hard on the person that's the recipient of it, because you feel trapped, like nothing you do is good enough. You just can't win. So
can't win for losing.
Yeah, it's and I sadly have the luxury of having been on both sides of that spectrum. So I know how that feels for both perspectives. So it really sucks. So let's talk about what exactly jealousy is. So I used my Googler so that I could get a couple definitions. So my Googler, I love my Googler. It makes me happy.
That sounds like something else.
It sounds like the burglar.
I don't think it sounds like no burglar.
I like it. My Googler.
Okay.
I'm going to keep saying Googler until you tell me what you think it sounds like, and then I probably will stop using it. But not today.
Using your Googler.
Not today. I'm using my Googler. So basically, it is those feelings of unhappiness or anger because the person that you love or you like, you think that they like someone else, or that someone likes them. Or it can even be sort of the idea that this is mine. So that possessive, like this is mine and you're trying to take something away from me. So jealousy sort of encompasses all of that disgusting mess.
I think for pointing that out too, especially this is mine, I'm not trying to protect mine.
Yes.
So while we're talking about jealousy though, you know what I'm saying?
That way,
yes.
I did.
Yeah.
Well, when you got something good, you're not trying to let it go.
Well, but we got to get into,
I know.
But
all
not all jealousy is, a bad thing. And there's some that's what we consider healthy, because that's a natural concern for, your protecting what is yours. Mm-hmm. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just when it's over.
Yeah, it's not in balance. Anything not in balance.
It's unhealthy. When you talk about God is jealous over us. Mm-hmm. He doesn't want us to serve anybody else but him. Mm-hmm. Put him first. Love him. just like he loves and cares for us, he says that, that he's jealous for us. So there is some, that
there's a healthy level
of the care and the concern of watching over, taking care of, and protection, so every part of jealousy is not necessarily a bad thing, but it can very easily, go into a lot of different directions to where it's unhealthy.
Yeah. Definitely. I agree. I should have brought some water. You got some for me?
I brought some.
See, look at that. Look at that guy. Of course, I don't want anybody taking away.
Take care of mine and protect and provide water, as well as shelter and all that other stuff.
And it's more of keeping something to yourself versus Definitely. Actual protection.
Right.
Although you do protect and provide. So, All right. So let's talk about where jealousy can sort of stem from. Things like feelings of insecurity, like you're not worthy, or you don't have enough value, or you just don't feel good about yourself for one reason or another. And that causes problems, because then you think to yourself, he's too good for me, or why would she want to be with me? Who am I? So then that jealousy thing just whoosh, you see somebody that's prettier than you, or more handsome than you, or more fit than you. And that's what you start to think in your head is well, if I was them, I would be looking at that other person too.
Right. Or if I had what they had, that you know, whatever you feel like personally that you feel like you're lacking,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it's not even something that your spouses maybe even mentioned.
Oh,
you
that's
know,
so
but it's
true.
just you're beating yourself up over your own
That is so true.
insecurities or low self-esteem,
shortcomings,
you know,
things like that. Yeah.
lack of confidence, you know, and you just let all these types of thoughts just beat you up,
Yeah.
you know, yourself, and you can be the one causing problems.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Well,
from that.
and you know how that works. That's the enemy of our
Absolutely.
soul. He just wants to feed you all those thoughts to keep you, you know, if you keep chasing your tail so much that you can't even see straight to chase after God, the devil is happy.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's all those thoughts of insecurities. And, you know, there's a level of being real with yourself. And then there's a level of basically abusing yourself. So, so another thing then, along with insecurity, would be sort of that lack of control. You sort of like, I mean, how do I describe? So you just feel like you can't control that they will want to stay with you, that they will want to be with you, that they will continue to choose you day after day. So you feel like sort of out of control, because the truth is we can't control anybody. I can't guarantee that you're going to wake up and stay with me tomorrow. I mean, I'd like to think you will, but or truly that is outside of my control. Well, that lack of control, sometimes that can send people over the edge.
And that sounds like that's
jealousy.
Fear-based.
Oh.
I mean, that's where that comes
control
in.
is all about, it's all about fear.
Yeah. You know, and, you know, either you're pushing that out, you know, or you're putting it on yourself, you know, to feel that way, you know.
Yeah.
So it's, it's a mess.
It is. And then bad past experiences, which I have several to draw on, which is why I came into our marriage with so much baggage, because of all of my past experiences, and just, you know, people having been unfaithful, people having been cruel. You know, kids are mean. Even when you're growing up, kids are just mean. There's just a lot that goes into that. So if you come out of experiences and they were negative, whether they told you you weren't good enough, whether they made you feel like you weren't valuable or worthy, you know, or they were unfaithful to you, people, you know, unfaithful to you, it's a hard thing to get that trust back when it's been broken. And sadly, when you experience a pattern of hurt, you just assume that future state, everyone's going to hurt you.
Yeah. And so then you almost go into like a protective mode, you know,
self-preservation.
Which is self-preservation, and, you know, which can also bring about other bad attitudes, you know, because you're so protected because you were hurt and it hurt deeply. Yeah. And hurt hurts. You know, let's just face it. You know, when you put your heart out there and somebody steps on it and stomps on it, and picks it up
the ground,
tosses it up against the wall, you know, to whatever degree hurt is to you, it hurts no matter what.
It does. Hurt hurts. That's the truth.
You know, so, you know, learning from that experience, well, I ain't gonna never let nobody do me like that again. You know, and so even coming into new friendships, partnerships, relationships, that wall is just, you know, automatically up. Guard yourself. Absolutely. We should. But, and I might be getting ahead of myself, the main thing, all right, I'll stop. I won't get to I won't say that.
Okay.
Stick with the plan. Gotta trust the process. Gotta trust the process.
And then another thing where jealousy can stem from is the person that's jealous sometimes is the one cheating. And because you're the one cheating, you just assume the other person is. Because you're guilty. Yeah, because you're guilty. It's almost like you project your guilt onto others. And so that's sort of, so many crazy experiences. But, you know, I'll just share a little bit of, you know, this is what we said we would do from the beginning, is that we would share a little bit of who we are, our life, our experience, and where we were and how we got to where we are now. And so, you know, I came into the relationship with a lot of baggage. I mean, I had
a full set.
What is that? Those storage units you can rent?
Oh, the self-storage?
The ones that they drop off at your
pods.
I had a pod full. Large size pod full. Yeah. So I'll just give you, I can give you a couple examples. Probably one of the there were several. My ex-husband did a lot of damage, and so did like exes and things like that, as far as like self-esteem, crushed it. Very unfaithful, things like that. And it had me doubting myself. But one specific example, I laugh about it now because I am completely healed. But it was pretty devastating. And I'll give you the example, and then I'll show you how devastated a little piece of our relationship. And so I was married when I was 19. And he was verbally and physically abusive. And he was a ridiculous cheater. Ridiculous cheater. And one specific example, so he's very controlling. He was really jealous. And he never really let me spend time with my friends. And so he offered to let me go hang out, which is so silly now. I feel like, oh gosh, you're so silly. And by silly, I mean stupid. He offered to let me go hang out with a friend of mine. And so I was supposed to go and spend the night. We were going to go hang out. We were going to, just whatever. We're just going to hang out, have fun, cause trouble, do girl things, And there was an incident that happened. And it sort of broke up the party early. So I ended up coming home instead of spending the night. But he didn't know that. So when I show up at my house, he's in my bed with another person, another woman. And I was young. So to me, she was like a lady. Like I would have classified myself as a girl, and she was a lady.
Cougar.
Yeah, and she was like blitzed. It was just disgusting. Anyway, and so I walked in on him cheating in my own bed. So, blah 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 drama, ensued, of course. And when me and you got together, so Teray's very social, and he was always an advocate of me being social. I really wasn't super social, but he was always an advocate. He was always trying to get me to go hang out with my friends and spend time with my friends. You can see how the problem's starting, right? So he would try to encourage me to go hang out with friends. But in my mind, all I could see is why? Why do you want me to do that? What are you going to be doing while I'm gone? Mm-hmm. And it caused a lot of problems because I just couldn't understand how you genuinely just wanted a good experience for me. Yeah. Because in the back of my mind, I thought you were trying to do dirt.
Yeah. And I wasn't.
He wasn't.
No. But, and so this ended up being one of those things that we eventually needed to discuss, and it came out, at a time where we were already like, and we had to open up and talk about each other's past, and figure out why, these things were. And at that time, before I actually did cheat, it was like, and I specifically remember saying, I'm not him, stop treating me like I'm him.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And there was so much, I couldn't go to in the military. She stayed in the barracks.
Yeah. This was before we were married because we had
before we were
married.
After. If I went to the bowling alley, okay, so let me tell you this. The bowling alley on base had the best grilled ham and cheese sandwiches.
Yeah, Pearl Harbor.
And with you get
bowling
the side
alley.
of French fries, you go to the bowl, or a good sandwich, a good cheeseburgers, nice fat juicy. But
they were so good. We would literally go just get food and
just
come
to get
back.
food. I didn't bowl, but I'd go there and eat. And so there was a time, or two where she was in her room. And it was like, we hungry, go get something to eat, cool, I'll go get it, but if I took too long, to come back with food, it was like, well, where was you at? Who was you with? Who was you talking to? All of that sort of thing, and then after, we got married, there was another specific, if you don't mind, I just want to.
No, you probably have an array of things you could share.
It's just this one, you know what I'm saying? Because we had, where we lived in base housing, McDonald's, and the other stores were close to us. No, it wasn't close to us though.
Yeah.
Jack in the Box?
That was right around the corner.
No, it wasn't.
I thought it was. Are you sure?
Nah.
We used to go
the nearest one was like down.
Because I used to go there and get milkshakes when I was pregnant with Trayvon. Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. I don't think there was one that close to base.
Right.
We asked
probably isn't there now anyway.
Right. We asked somebody. But going to McDonald's and because I will talk about this too, I think coming up, but because I was trying to live up to her standards, you know, like we talked about before, she wanted me to come home and take a nap, you know, because she would nap and I would, you know, that
Well,
wasn't
clearly,
my thing.
I was jealous and controlling. I
Right.
surely didn't
You
want
know,
him
so-
out from around me.
And that's what you said, like,
Mhm.
you didn't want me to be out having fun or whatever. And, you know, that wasn't.
Mhm.
So I went to McDonald's to get us some McDonald's. And I stayed out, I think, because McDonald's was in walking distance because I walked. So I went to McDonald's and I think it was 45 minutes to an hour to go to McDonald's and order this food. Just so happened, I ran into some of the buddies of mine that I hadn't seen
He
in so
always
long
ran into somebody.
because I was, you know, we considered it being on lockdown. You know what I'm saying? So I was already out of the military at this time, you know, and working, you know, off base and doing all that other stuff, you know, but some of my buddies that were still in or just still around, they hadn't seen me in so long because I was still trying to keep her happy by doing what she wanted me to do. Get to see some of the homies and it's like, man, we thought you left the rock. You know, we ain't seen you in months. It's like, nah, man, blah, 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 whatever. So we sat there and we basically chopped it up for about, you know, an extra 30, 40 minutes or whatever. So then I'm happy. You know, I got sandwiches, got French fries, you know, so I'm just walking my little happy butt back to our little spot. I'll open the door to come in the door and get blasted. Who was you with? Where was you at? It don't take that long to go to McDonald's. It's just down the street, you know, so blah, 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 ruined a perfectly good moment, right?
Mhm.
Just my whole attitude changed. I had the sandwiches and the French fries. I was happy. I saw some of my friends, you know, and then that.
Mhm.
And, you know,
It was pretty bad.
and that turned into a whole argument for the rest of that day.
Yeah, I was jealousy personified. I mean, really, like if jealousy was a person, it was me.
Isn't it a
terrible.
green-eyed monster or is that something else?
That's
Or is that envy? Or is that greed?
I don't
I
know.
think it's greed. I'm going to go look it up. I'm going to use your
Green-eyed monster.
Googler.
Use the Googler. But yeah, so then that goes right into some of the behaviors that are associated with a jealous spouse. Sadly, I exhibited the majority that I'm about to say. So very accusatory, always accusing the other person of acts of unfaithfulness. I did that all the time. That was a prime example. That was not a rare occasion. That was all the time. You know, I mean, it's just sad. And I've apologized because I feel terrible now that I am well and understand that was such negative behavior. That was so terrible for anybody to live through that. So, but lots of accusations flying around, lack of trust. I mean, you know, he could have told me anything. It wouldn't have mattered. I wouldn't have believed him if he didn't say exactly what I thought. Like if I thought he was hooking up and he didn't say he was hooking up, then it wouldn't have mattered. I wouldn't have thought it was the truth anyway. I mean, it wouldn't have mattered because I just didn't trust. Very controlling. Didn't want him out from under me. I, you know, just wanted him with me all the time. Didn't want to share him with anybody. Definitely not his friends. Didn't want him going out. I was very, very controlling. And of course, what goes along with that is verbal abuse. You know, I wasn't a physical abuser, but I was definitely verbally abusive. You know, it was sort of my way of.
It is. It's the green. It's called the green eye. It is jealousy is the green-eyed
Green-eyed monster. Got it.
Now
So-
I want to know why.
Moving on, babe. Verbally abusive. So trying to like really keep him in line, whatever that looks like, keeping him in line, you know, by trying to make him, you know, feel bad or, I don't know how else to describe it, but definitely using my words, specifically me, because this is, you know, I told you I exhibited all these, but using your words to really just hurt and manipulate and just, just be mean, because it's almost like I feel like you're hurting me, so I'm going to hurt you back. And that was how I chose to do it. And then again, I was super clingy. I just didn't want him out of my sight. So those are some of the behaviors that a jealous person or a jealous spouse is going to exhibit. Like I said, I exhibited all of those. And so, you know, he sort of already shared some of that. So did you have any other ones you wanted to share?
Oh, I got stories.
Mhm,
No,
I
I'm
know
not
you
doing
do.
that. No, we're not talking. We're not going to go that far into this. We just want to talk about jealousy, what it is, and how to work through it.
Thanks, babe. I have apologized repeatedly.
And I have accepted that apology repeatedly.
And I'll do it again. I ain't scared, babe.
And I'll accept it again.
Babe,
Yes.
I'm so sorry for real. It was pretty crappy. I'm so sorry.
I accept your apology.
Thanks.
Grown man gifts tonight.
Dude, I cannot with you. Impacts to your
But you
marriage and to your spouse. Impacts to your marriage and to your spouse.
So it can definitely push you away. It's definitely not something that can bring you closer together without really. We talk about this a lot, and especially in our events, the importance of communication.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have the hard conversation if you want to be able to move forward in your marriage and in your relationship. You have to. You can't sweep stuff under the rug and pretend that it doesn't exist. You have to. Or else it can lead to a few of these things. Divorce could definitely be something, because it can get so bad to where you just can't take it anymore. Or because it has driven you so far away that you just can't see coming back. And it could
Breaks
also
those
drive
feelings.
you away into somebody else's presence, because, and that's what a lot of, and I don't know statistics, but that's what a lot of cheating does, and what it ends up, something that you are just not happy with or satisfied with or can't deal with at home. And there's somebody else that is giving you what you wish you had at home. It feels more comfortable in that position. You start spending more time and talking with that person and opening up with them. That leads to that type of relationship. So it goes into all types of stuff. So, divorce.
Or if you're going to accuse me, I
then I might as well
go on.
do it. Right.
Get the benefits of the accusation.
Right. So it could definitely lead into those things.
Yeah.
Unfair and undeserved treatment. It's like, man, what did I do? Kind of like my statement was, I'm not him. I didn't understand. I don't think the full degree, of what you had experienced and why I was the recipient, of that grief.
Yeah. You received that unfair.
And not
punishment.
only from him, but from all the other relationships that you have been into. And it's not just, the things that you did, because I had my own parts to play in those things too, because there were parts of me where I was flirtatious, which did lead into some of that jealousy. So I can't put it all on her for that. The extreme, yes. Yeah. But did I still have my little parts to play here and there? Absolutely. And one instance that I have, and I try to justify, oh Lord, when we lived in Bremerton. And look, a lot of people do this and have done it, men and women. So as I preface that, we happened to be at the drive-thru. I forget what restaurant we was at. I think it's like Arby's or something.
Burger King.
Was it a Burger King? Oh, you remember. It was a Burger King then. And it wasn't my fault. So, we pull up to the window. You place your order, pull up to the window. And the lady that was there, she was nice to me. And so I was being nice back to her, because my thought was, I'm not trying to get with you. I'm trying to get you to put something else in my bag. So look, I flirted a little bit, trying to get a little extra sandwich, or
I'm in the car.
Or some French fries or something like that. Just put a little something else in the bag, and not realizing how bad that was, because my goal was, I'm flirting for some food. I wasn't really trying to holler at her, but yeah, Janine was right there next to me, and it was wrong. But I was like, there's a purpose behind this. Still wrong. So stop taking advantage of those types of situations. It's wrong. It's wrong.
It wasn't just one time.
It wasn't?
No.
That wasn't? No. What else did I do today? At the
Often.
mall?
No, there's a couple times.
Were we shopping?
No, it was usually around food.
Oh,
always flirting for some extra food.
I'm sorry. Anyway, flirting for food is wrong.
Flirting for food is absolutely
don't do that.
wrong.
And flirting for drinks is wrong. When
you did that
club,
too.
You flirt for drinks. Women do that all the time.
But this woman didn't, so that's the one that matters.
I'm just saying.
It's not a gender thing.
I said it wasn't. Yeah, I said that men do it and women do it.
That's right.
Right. So
but we know.
So what jealousy can do
Yeah, you brought that
can
up,
lead to
brother.
divorce.
You asked for that.
No, I didn't ask for it.
Oh, yeah, you did.
I just started the conversation and
asked for it.
I didn't ask for it.
Mhm.
Did I say, Janine, please give me this?
You was begging.
I was not.
You was
No,
baby,
stop
baby,
it.
baby, please.
Stop it. Stop
Gimme,
it.
gimme.
Stop it. Stop.
Oh, look.
It
So
can lead to-
finishing up the impact to your marriage.
I don't know. I don't know if I can go on.
Oh my
anymore.
gosh.
It can lead to, like we said, affairs and you know, adulteries.
Yeah.
Or just
The
any types of
escapism too.
ungodly partnerships with other
Mhm.
people outside of your relation. It can lead to
Even
bad
pornography.
friendships.
Mhm. Oh, yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Bad friendships
Mhm.
that have you hanging around the wrong crowd of
Mhm.
people that can get you in more trouble.
Out of spite.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Even like escapism. So when we talk about escapism, so a lot of times you hear that in reference to like drug and alcohol addictions, because it starts because that person's in so much pain, so they try to escape. It's the same concept here, but sometimes it can be drugs and alcohol, but it also can be, you know, like I feel like one of the things for Teray was he just had to get out from under me. He had to get away from me. He had to get away from the house.
Mhm.
So his friends would come by. He would conveniently start an argument. So then it would be an argument. So he would storm out, but then he could go be with his friends. So, but that, you know, that feeds into that lack of connectedness, all of that. But then you have the other side, and which I don't know, maybe you felt this a little bit, but the other side would be those people that sort of feel like they're trapped and they just submit because it's easier than going against the grain.
Sometimes it was like that,
Mhm.
you know, because I didn't. So here's the thing, you know, it wasn't like being stuck under your rule of thumb. You know, sometimes it was just choose your battles. You know, is this that big of a deal or is it not? You know, because I feel like, whether it's right or wrong, I felt like, you know, I didn't want to have all of that, you know, arguing between us at home. You know, my idea, I guess, you know, of marriage was supposed to be, this was supposed to be, you know, our peaceful place.
Our happily ever after. And it turned out to be.
You fight everybody else outside, you know, and not, you know, in the house, things of that nature. So that's why it would like push me to that place where it's like, okay, I've had enough. I'm out, you know, and then I would go do whatever, hang out, play sports, all of the things that I really wanted to do for the most part anyway, but couldn't, you know, or chose not to in different times because of the amount of trouble that it would cause.
Yeah. No, that's right. That makes sense. Again, so sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's learning experience.
Well,
and that's why, you know.
It stinks that you even had to live like that. And that's sort of like the idea is like the one person is trying to control everything. And the other person is sort of like living in a cage and feels, you know, like they just can't escape. So it's just not cool. It's not cool. So if you are in this type of relationship, if you are the jealous person,
if you have those tendencies, even if you have tendencies, you know, pay attention, you know, because they can grow, right? They can grow.
And then just even operating the fruit of the spirit, you know, having that self-control is huge. You may feel feelings all the time. Let me just tell you that I don't like it when people look at my man. I'll take it as a compliment, but when it's excess, then it's like, okay, I really want to say something, but I'm not going to because I'm not that person. So, you know, because of my relationship with Christ, because I have applied his word, you know, I do operate in self-control. You know, some areas are a little easier than others, but I have definitely grown in that area because it was so traumatic to our relationship. And I never want to be that person again. So, while I may feel pangs of jealousy, I will never be that person again. So I encourage you, if you are that person that's really jealous and you've exhibited some of these stories sound familiar, all of that, you know, rah-rah, you know, all of that, you don't have to live like that. I'm going to tell you I'm on the other side and it's so much better. Yeah. I mean, even for me, because the person who's jealous is not at peace. The person who's jealous is like living in a chaotic, like nightmare. It's a trap for both parties. So that's really where we want to go next, is talking about, okay, so how do you sort of fix that?
Because you got to find a way to get out of that. And so from our experience, you know, why don't you go ahead and share your part of that, you know, what you found or what you did or what you needed to do. in order to be healed from that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and get out of that. And then I'll share what I think about that as well.
Well, I will. Thank you. So one of the first things is that anytime there's like this breach, and as he said, so I carried in baggage. He had a flirtatious personality. That was sort of like, you know, what is it? Oil and water.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was not a good combination. We'll just leave it there. It was not a good combination, and it did create a lot of problems. So it takes a commitment from both parties to really work through some damaging things like that. And so I think that's probably one of the things that was such a benefit to our marriage, is that we both were really willing to work. We had to put in work. It wasn't
Right.
easy. Everything that we have overcome has taken work.
Right. But let me say something real
Mm-hmm.
fast, is that you did say something that was extremely important. It's not a one person issue.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're in a relationship with somebody, you're married to somebody. It's not, that's your problem, you deal with that. No, you have to work through it together and help
Mm-hmm.
each other to overcome whatever any situation is. You know, it's not, I'm just going to leave you over there. You don't want me to go get help, you know,
Mm-hmm.
for whatever. I got to go over here and go get help. No, we have to work in it together in order for both of us to succeed.
No, yeah. Thank
So
you.
that's very, very, very important that you said that.
Thanks, babe. So in that, there's this area where you have to really learn to be vulnerable with each other. And it's not easy. It's not easy confessing that you're out of control, jealous because you were hurt repeatedly. It's not easy to say, you know what? I have let you control me for so long. Your jealousy has just destroyed and devastated me. Those are things that are not easy to say to each other, honestly. And you have to make a safe space. We say this probably in every event. There has to be a safe space where you say, look, I want to hear from you. I want to hear how you're feeling. And you have to create a space where it's okay to say whatever they're feeling.
Mhm.
If you say, tell me how you feel, and how they feel is they're angry with you, and you get angry back, why would they ever talk to you again?
Right.
So you have to create this safe space.
Tell them like how you do that though. You know, you remove yourself from.
Yeah. So we worked through, so this is a different topic for another day, but we worked through, was it the pornography issue and sort of like being attracted to other women, right? When you were trying to come out of some of that stuff. I think it was mostly pornography, but I think there was another element of it. And I remember, that God really showed me to step back, take off my wife hat and put on my friend hat.
Yeah.
At that time, Trey didn't need me to be his wife. He needed me to be a friend that he could, a confidant. He needed to
Open
be
up
able to
and
talk to me honestly. And let me tell you, when you're coming out of jealousy, when you're coming out of adultery, and you're helping your spouse overcome something that triggers all of that, it is not easy to sit there and listen to their confessions of, it depends on how you look at certain things, but infidelity, that is hard. So I had to take off my wife hat, and it was almost like I just had to sort of become this other person. I took off the wife hat, I put on the friend hat, and he just was able to talk, and he was able to confess, his issues. He was able to talk openly, how he feels, why he feels like that. And that's one of the things here is like, okay, for me, jealousy. Yeah. Why am I so jealous? Why am I so worried? What has Teray done that has led to that? And then, because as an example, we know that it stemmed from my baggage from the past. Okay, we can deal with that. But why am I treating Teray that way? You know what I'm saying? So we had to look at all of that. We had to, really like do a lot of really repenting.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of revealing.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of forgiveness.
There's a lot of shrekking.
What?
Shrekking. Shrek.
Oh,
You gotta peel back the onion.
The onions have layers.
You gotta pull back these layers, man. And that's what folks don't want to get down to. They don't want to pull back those layers because it hurts to get to that core, but the core is where the issue is. So you gotta take that onion, you gotta pull those layers apart to get to the
one layer
core.
at a time.
And sometimes it's not instant. It's not overnight. You might have that conversation
Multiple times.
one night. And that doesn't mean everything is going
Right.
to be okay tomorrow, because you still have to deal with the emotion. You still have to deal with the feeling. You still have to deal with whatever hurt was involved. and how to day by day work through it
Yeah.
and working through it together. So you have to, piece by piece, don't be afraid, create a safe environment for communication in order for you to have those conversations. And we both at times, had to switch hats,
Yeah.
to listen, to each other's hurt,
Yeah. Yeah.
and pain, you know what I mean? And not try to solve it. That's one thing I had to learn with
that's
you.
hard.
Not try to solve it right then
Right.
and there, but to just be there to listen so the other person can be free, get it off of their chest. So
No,
I'm sorry.
I agree.
Go ahead.
No, that's good. That's really good. One of the things we always say, and it helped us, is think about what you're thinking about. So there have been numerous times, probably the biggest time I remember, I don't remember what I said. I just remember I was standing in the closet in our bedroom and you said something and I snapped back. And as soon as I snapped back in my head, why did I just snap about that? And I remember it went back to an old hurt. It went back to something that Trey had said to me. And it just triggered something. And so I stopped and I said, I'm really sorry that I snapped at you, and this is why I did that. It doesn't make it acceptable. I'm just telling you, like, I was thinking about what I was thinking about, and this is why I did that. But if you can do that, it's much better if you can catch it before you snap.
Right.
But it's better. It's just think about what you're thinking about. If you can catch yourself in the midst of thinking it, you can stop the bad behavior from proceeding.
Yeah, a valuable lesson for us too that we learned from, and that we also teach and talk to people about now, is everything that comes to your head doesn't have to come out of your mouth. You have those thoughts, and especially in those kind of conversations, you're formulating thoughts in your mind is in response to what's being said to you. You got rebuttals, you got stories, you got receipts, from this, that, and the third. And it's like, I'm not about to let you talk to me that way. So you've got a whole gang of you about to give it to them ready to go.
Right.
And some other stuff included in that too, just to push buttons and hurt. Everything that comes to your head doesn't need to come out of your mouth, especially when you're trying to heal a situation. Yep. If there's a process of healing trying to take place, don't let your mouth mess it up.
Yeah, that's good. Be on guard for sure. Healing for past wounds. Some things may be really deep, and you may have to go to, if you have like a pastor that you trust, if you have a friend that you trust that you can just talk. Sometimes it goes deep, and you might need to go, have a therapist that really can help you sort of unpack all of that, because it is so deep and it is so bad. Everything isn't surface with everybody, so it just depends. But the goal of all of that should be leading you towards forgiveness. We never want to just talk about stuff to stew in it and to keep like feeding that rage or that fire or that jealousy or that anger or whatever you have going on. That is not the goal. The goal is not talking about it to feed that. The goal is always to unpack it so that you can lay it at the feet of Jesus so that he can heal you. You can forgive yourself, you can forgive others, and then you can move forward. I think that is huge. That forgiveness element, it's a hard thing to do, but I'm telling you, that's some stuff right there.
It is. It's hard because it's hard to get started if you don't know where. You can look at it like any of the attempts to do something, like going to the gym. I really want to go to the gym, really. But it's so hard until you make that first step.
Yep.
Once you make that first step, it's, it gets easier and gets easier and gets easier. But if you...
We'll test that theory tomorrow morning.
Hey, look, amen to that.
We just started going back to the gym, FYI. Today was day one.
But if you don't make the initial attempt, you're going to sit there and let the enemy replay things over and over and over, and it just keep you in that cycle of hurt and anger and bitterness and resentment and all of those things. Let me tell you something. If you don't get healed from the stuff, don't be surprised if you start having health issues, because all of that stuff, even though it seems like it's something that's internal, it will hurt you physically. Heart attacks, high blood pressure, mental issues. Now, mental health
food addictions leading to obesity.
Oh, absolutely. Other types of addictions, can take you into drugs, alcohol, sex, gambling, whatever. So you don't let it sit there when there's an answer.
That's right. God's provided all you need in his word.
You can overcome it. You can win, and even get to the place where you can talk about it and it doesn't hurt anymore.
Yes. Like today.
That's the key.
Yes.
That's the key.
That's good. That's really good. Also, I think you were really good at this. I think once you got on board, I feel like you were really good at this, and you have maintained that. You've stayed good at this, is just sort of providing that reassurance, just really loving me. I mean, I brought a lot of mess to the marriage, so he was really good, and he really loved me through a lot of things, through how I feel about myself, physically, how I feel about myself, just like intelligent wise, or, there's just a lot of things that I feel like you really have provided a lot of reassurance to me over the years. And when we work through our adultery, what is huge is that we learned, and we'll talk about that at a later date, but what we learned is that one person usually is sort of over it and doesn't understand why the other person is not.
Right.
But that was something that we learned going through that, is that, okay, that's great. You apologized.
Right.
I accepted your apology,
right,
but I'm still processing my emotions. And
right.
So, but you had to learn how to reassure me through all of that, and how to support me and love me, even though you didn't have those feelings anymore in your mind. It was sort of over, but it wasn't for me.
Reestablishing and building trust, and, going through all of that. Once again, it wasn't a one person thing. It was both of us working through it together. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty much the majority of what we have. So we talked about jealousy. We talked about our own experiences with jealousy, different sort of symptoms, results, and then how we overcame it. And, I do really want to quickly say that, a shout out to the book of Proverbs, because Proverbs transformed my life. God transformed my life. But in several of these upcoming episodes, it was because of the book of Proverbs. Just little things about, how a woman should and shouldn't be. And I think probably one of the biggest ones really was about a woman, a good woman builds her house, builds it up, but a foolish one tears it down with her own hands. And that hit me so deep. And I, from that point on, just didn't want to be that person anymore. I didn't want to be destroying my own house, not with my own hands. That's terrible, right? So that was huge for me. So those are all of the things that you can do.
What about the rooftop?
That's in the next episode.
Oh, okay.
Because there's that one too.
My bad.
I'm sure you felt like that. Better always jumping the gun. It's better to live on a rooftop than to live in a house with a quarrelsome woman.
Say that. Jesus. Say it. Kumbaya.
Well, that's all we have for you today, folks.
Yes. And so please make sure you go through the things on the bottom of the screen and leave a comment. We'd like to hear from you guys on maybe some experiences that you may have had, or anything that you would like to say about what you heard and learned from us as our experience, and then the tips and the tools that we use to help us to get through it. Because, man, let me tell you something. God didn't create us to carry all that baggage, so it's best to discover it, talk about it, get it out of the way, lay it down at his feet, and let him heal you from it, so that you can be free and that your marriage can be healed.
Yeah. So again, thank you so much for joining. We really love sharing things that we've learned with you, sharing pieces of who we are and our experiences with you. And we really, our goal and our hope is that you'll be able to take this, apply it to your own relationship, and that you will be on an upward trend in your relationship, and you'll start seeing new dynamics. You'll get, levels of connection and getting closer with your spouse. That's really our heart's desire. That's the whole reason that we're doing the podcast, is because we want to show you how you can overcome in these areas, because we did it and we're nobody. If we can do it, you can do it. Absolutely. So, again, remember, if you like what you're hearing, each week with us, make sure that you like our episodes, subscribe, hit that alert button, set your alerts so that you get our weekly content as soon as it comes out. We're on social media as well. And, we would just love to connect with you. So just like Teray said, make sure you're leaving comments for us. We just really want to connect with you. So Until next time,
Till next time,
be blessed.
be blessed and we'll see you then.